Hey everyone, welcome to another Homeschool Haven Parent Spotlight. My name is Stephanie, and we're seriously excited about a comment that Kay Rue left for us this week on the Parent Spotlight page on our Facebook group. And I'm just going to read right here what she said, and I apologize, Kay Rue, if I'm saying your name wrong. I realized once I started recording here that I wasn't sure if this was a hyphenation or a nickname, or I didn't take the time to clarify that. So I'm going with what I see here, and I apologize if it's incorrect. But you have been lovely, by the way. Just your comments and your support and have meant the world to Michelle and I. We've really enjoyed just helping who we can help at this season, and getting to know new women has just been a real treat. And so thank you for your kind words. That truly, they meant a lot. Michelle and I were kind of celebrating together. We talk a lot through Marco Polo throughout the week. I don't know if you're familiar with the Marco Polo app, but we do a lot of kick back and forth between that. We've got a big time change. We're in different parts of the country and things, and so that has been a wonderful tool. But I wish you could have seen Michelle's face in response to some of the things that she was saying. One day maybe we'll have both of our faces up here while we're doing a parent spotlight. We'll get really super techie somehow. But here is Kay Rue's comment. She says, I am a first timer this odd pandemic year, and though I am loving it so much, I may continue homeschooling next year and the year after that. Our plan going into this was to re-enter our son into public school once the pandemic is reckoned with and it is safe to return. With that goal in mind, am I doing our third grade son a disservice by tailoring our readings and experiments and activities to be things he is already interested in? Will he lose his ability to tolerate a unit on a subject he isn't so keen on? I'm even doing little things like holding discussions while tossing bean bags back and forth, or letting him handle slime while I read to him. Or sometimes, to shake things up, I have him find bits of lessons hidden around our house just to keep his interest and provide him some literal wiggle room, which he seems to desperately need. Am I doing him a disservice in the long run, or during this strange year does it even matter? The only other mom I know is homeschooling is also doing it for the first time, so I'd appreciate y'all's view on this. Thanks for your consideration. First of all, we want to say amen to the parent, to Chelsea on here, who responded to you. She said, I'm no expert. This is also my first year, and my mother-in-law is a teacher, so I enjoy bouncing ideas and questions off her. She has said that this year is so crazy for everyone, regardless of how they school, that it doesn't really matter how it's done. When things go back, everyone will again have to readjust. So I think personally, if your child is excelling and enjoying what you're doing, let them. So I love the little exchange you were having there. Amen. I second that wholeheartedly and completely. That is, any change requires adjustment, and there's going to be something in going back if it's not this piece of his interest having to adjust. It's going to be something else. There's going to be adjustment, because that, to me, that speaks more to just the nature of new things in life when they come our way, and how that goes. So what I want to do here is tell you a little bit about my experience and try and share some of the things that Michelle said. I hope I'll be able to do an adequate job here on her behalf, because I loved some of the things she said. I wish you could have seen her face when she just said, all I wanted to tell her was, go you! Like, that sounds fantastic. We want to be third graders in your homeschool. So that sounded really great. We both agree, don't change anything. If it's working, keep going with it. And just know that some sort of adjustment is going to need to be made later when they go back. That's just an inevitable part. So living in a space of worry over that, it's just going to rob you of the joy of enjoying what you're doing right now. And I'll share my personal experience with you. Maybe you've heard this. I never know where I'm repeating myself for certain people, but I homeschooled for 3.5 years. And then we had a life change of our own. We had the opportunity to move my parents in with us for 3 years to take care of them. And that first year, I really had to figure out how to be a caretaker and make that adjustment. And I chose to send my kids to the lovely public school down the street for a 1.5 years is what it ended up being, before we were able to end up finding a larger house with a mother-in-law basement in that time, and just make that adjustment that the family needed to make. And I will tell you right now that my house looked a lot like what you're describing, that there was a lot of those things happening, a lot of interest space that we're pursuing, a lot of room for respectfully wiggling, but still learning. I'm always in awe of my son. Like that we do a lot of reading sometimes, and I'll tell everybody, okay, bring a quiet activity. Just bring something quiet, and as long as you're proving to me that you're listening, it's okay for you to have that. So I've got a daughter that loves to crochet, another one that loves to draw, and a son that will do somersaults up and down the hall. And during these times that it's allowed, and I'll ask follow-up questions and be like, okay, so what about this? And he has these amazing questions with me while he's sitting upside down on his head or rolling up and down the hall. And I think it's pretty amazing. So anyways, but that being said, that's our reality. And my kids were able to go to public school, and there were things that were adjustments. There were, but they did fine, and they transitioned home just fine. So I hope that offers you a little bit of peace that they've got, that's going to be part of the story, is some adjustment over what it is, but enjoy what you're doing now. So something that Michelle said that she does with her son, this more answers to our brain went to this place where we were thinking also about there's the interest part, right? Where you're worried for your son that he's not going to be as interested in learning when it's not done in this way. And then there's also kind of that sit down and learn expectation in a public school setting. There are a lot of great teachers that make room for that wiggling and for that space and for that. I tried to do that with my kids where I could see that, oh, you know what? Don't let them be sitting for more than 15 or 20 minutes. If you can stand up and turn the math experiment into something with their bodies or something, and then we sit back down, that just catered a lot more. So I really believe there's a lot of great teachers out there that are doing things like that and that understand that developmental need of children to move and to experience learning in that way. But something that Michelle talked about, she's like, you know what, sometimes when I'm in a situation where I am the direct teacher to my kids and something happens that just wouldn't work in that kind of a setting where there's multiple kids, and I keep wanting to call it a public school setting, but if you keep homeschooling, you're going to probably have more opportunities for groups of 5 and 10 kids to come together in a setting of learning. My kids go to church every week, and on Sunday that's a sit down and listen. Well, not right now, pandemic, right? Thank you. But there are other settings where that sit, listen, learn expectation is there. And so something that Michelle says that she does is if she catches something that she knows wouldn't fly in that setting, she goes, oh, you know what? Hold on. I'm going to give you the chance to try that again. I'm trying to say this as Michelle did. I took little notes that she did this. Okay, if we were in a classroom, that would not fly, and we're going to let you pretend that I'm the teacher and imagine that we just try that again. And I love that. I love that because that might bring to the front of his mind and help with that transition later down the road of okay, there are places where this works and there's places where this isn't going to happen. And learning that can just help lead into that. So Michelle and I also talked about a time, it's both of our all-time favorite things that we've ever done together when we lived in the same area. We went down to Seward, Alaska. And we went to the Sea Life Center there, and they do an incredible overnight, such cool experience but there's classes and there's scavenger hunts, and the particular teacher that we had was phenomenal and was so great. We all enjoyed her so much. And we got to dissect some squid, but there was some sit down, listen, and learn experiences going on, okay? And we loved, Michelle and I were talking about we had a huge age range. It was probably upper elementary, and then we even had some preschoolers there because we were all moms and we needed to bring all the kids, And the kids sat and listened, even the ones that it was going a little bit over their head. And so the thought that Michelle and I had too, and this caters more to the behavior side than the interest question that you're having, is if you're not hearing back from other situations like these, that your kids are being disrespectful or not listening, which there's total hope in that too. You can find ways to work through that as well. But if that's not your experience, then you probably don't need to worry too much that he's not going to be able to then transfer into that, if that makes sense. So that was another thought there on kind of, I think, our teacher brain behavior side of having, you know, the classroom management of things run a little bit differently when you've got 20 or 30 bodies of the same age in that space, right? And so anyways, I really, really hope this helps. Our vote is keep going, keep doing what you're doing, and kind of put in a few ideas here and there that help him to think of, oh, well, if I were in this setting, like it wouldn't work this way, but that's okay. I work really hard. My kids have heard me say this a lot of times, like there are a lot of great things about public school that we can't do here at home. And there's a lot of great things about homeschool that the public school can't do either. And I want them to have that mindset of like both worlds have super great things and both worlds kind of have some stinky things to them. And that's the nature of any job you're going to go out there and get. That's the nature of any relationship you're going to have, you know, that there's two sides to every coin. And I have used that experience of not knowing if they're going to go back or if they're going to stay to kind of help them see that there's going to be, because if they do go back, I also don't want them to hone in and get just really myopic about like, this is the stinky thing and this isn't what it is. And I'm, you know, I liked learning according to my interest and I can't do that as much here. I like that freedom, but I want them to see the other things that they're getting that they would love to. So, I've kind of talked to them about that and tried to see opportunities for that and help them to recognize that, because my kids naturally do bring up things that like, oh yeah, at the public school when we could, I'm like, yeah, that really was a cool thing that you could do that. You know, my girls were on student council and they loved it. There's no student council with the four of us, right? But and that was a neat experience. They had some great mentors and I love that experience that my daughters got out of that. So anyways, I hope this helps. You're doing fantastic. Again, thank you so much for your comments. We cannot tell you how grateful we are for your compliments and for your thoughts that you've shared on the Facebook page, on the Facebook group. And we hope this helps a little bit. Congratulations, you're doing fantastic. And for those of you that are listening to the end here with us talking to Kayru a little bit, my name's Stephanie. My friend Michelle and I have started homeschoolhaven.space. Once again, that's homeschoolhaven.space. From there, you can link over to our Facebook group. That's where we do most of our interactions with people. We've got a little blog there, and we're just enjoying helping moms through these first few years or any stage of their homeschool experience in any way. So have a great day, everybody, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.